I did not want to come to an HBCU. And HBCU was the last thing I wanted to do. I said over my dead body was I coming to an HBCU because the perception that I had of HBCUs.
Morgan, it was kind of like a choice on a whim. It kind of did interest me about Morgan itself, and also it was like far away from home, but not too far.
I would say, in my opinion, in the Black community, we're already robbed of so many experiences, and we begin to doubt ourselves and believe that it's certain things that we can't do. But the HBCU experience, they provide so many opportunities for people that look like me.
When I started looking into what colleges to go to, I was like, I will apply for HBCUs just to see if I'll get in, but I was not planning on going to one. What made me end up deciding on an HBCU, and specifically for Morgan State, I only did one college visit, and that was the only one I could afford at the time, which was to Morgan State. And the energy, the inclusivity, the unity, the spirit, it was so like vibrant and intangible, but tangible at the same time. It was something that like, it shook you in your chest. And it was somewhere where like, I remember coming into the auditorium and how they made me feel like so celebrated, like just my presence being there, and like just the fact that I wanted to see what is this, what this school is. And they made that moment, like I remember how I felt in that moment.
Bowie, Towson, and Coppin, and all of them accepted me on the spot. I had my transcripts, and I just signed every place I had interest in. And and they were doing it on spot, so once I kind of figured out, okay, well, they all accepted me, I guess I'm gonna go to Morgan.
So we would go on these tours at HBCUs, we would go sing for them, but then we hear them sing for us, and it'd be like, oh my God, like I thought we sounded good, but then you hear these collegiate choirs, and they just sound like heavenly choirs. So it was definitely something I wanted to be a part of. Norfolk State, their choir actually came down to Renaissance one year, and I think that was the first time that I heard them, and I was like, I gotta be a part of that, bro. I have to.
So when we were on our way to graduation, getting our decision day, things of that nature, Clark Atlanta was actually my first choice. I ended up going to Southern because it was kind of just cheaper. But there is this Detroit Alumni Association for CAU, and they came actually to our school to kind of just speak to us. And I think that was kind of the highlight moments of why I ended up choosing Clark, because I always knew I wanted to do something in the media industry, but I actually got to talk to somebody personally who was working like with radios, big like news articles like Billboard, things of that nature, and just being able to have a conversation with that lady. I wish I knew her name, but she just pitched Clark Atlanta to me like there was no other place to go. And I think because it was Atlanta, everybody says Atlanta is the Black Hollywood. It kind of just made me more intrigued just to see where I would go if I ended up going to Atlanta.
Graduates and students that go or matriculate through HBCU, a historically Black college or university, they have the opportunity to grow, to develop, to gain confidence without the stress, anxiety of someone judging them because of the color of their skin or because of the way they act.
It was seeing more people like me with trying to achieve their goals. I grew up like in diverse areas. I've seen so many different people, so many different races and stuff like that. So having a spot like for HBCUs where we called our own, where we get to shine and flourish and display our talents, that was it attracted me.
HBCU culture is so important to me. It really just hits home because, like I said, we're all on campus and we're all like-minded individuals. In a way, we can all relate to each other, but it just shows the importance of all the different dreams and aspirations that we have as HBCU students. We're all here to get a degree. No matter what we're doing, no matter what organization we pledge, what we do on campus, where we come from, we're all here overall to get a degree, walk across the stage, and then go be great. And so HBCU culture, it just really provides so many opportunities for students that if you really want it, it's there for you.
I think the importance of HBCUs in the Black community is creating that community before you go out in the real world. A lot of times I know we grow up hearing people say we're the minority, but just having that experience to have 4 years being the majority, like not having to worry about racism, classism, anything of that nature, like you just create this big family experience at a home away from home. And I think that's really important when it comes to just being out in the world, because you can adapt because you already had that experience with the highs and lows from your own community, and then just taking those things that were instilled in you at an HBCU and just taking it and adapting it to where you go out in the world.
HBCU culture is so many things. It's hard to just bring it down into one thing, because what makes a HBCU so special is the people and everything they bring into it. It's the joy, the anger, the emotions, the games, the organizations, the buildings, the history. I think it's important because as Black people, we all need to see something that's constantly growing and evolving. And I think an HBCU has the history of that.
I would love for every student that I meet, that I'm involved with, to have that same experience, where they see Black culture, educated culture, where, it's not, well, many of the students that I taught were always in lower socioeconomic environments. They'd never been outside of, some of the students that I've worked with have never been outside the city. So to go to a Black college in Atlanta or Baltimore or Kentucky, Tennessee, it was exciting for them, So, and that's the goal, to kind of get them excited about being on a campus where they see people that look like them.
No shade to no other schools, shout out to MSU, shout out to U of M, shout out to other PWIs and other states and regions and stuff. But, it ain't no love like HBCU love, respectfully. There's no love like HBCU love. The classes are smaller, whereas at the PWI, you may be in a lecture hall with, 200, 300 students. HBCU, at NSU, my classes, I've never been to class with more than, let's say, like 20 people.
And when you think about the history of HBCUs, why they were created, why we create community, I think it's just so important to think about, if you didn't go to an HBCU, who are you really when you go out into the world as an adult? And I think that's what I love about HBCUs, because a lot of times we complain about housing, we complain about food, but like for our motto at Clark Atlanta is find a way or make one. And I think every semester I've looked back and reflected on, I had to find a way or make one in that same scenario or whatever the case may have been, whatever situation, but it also helped me reflect on how much I've grown.
Professors know us by name. Professors give out their cell phone number if I need to, and it's just a certain love, and it's just a certain atmosphere that, growing up Black is, I don't even need to go into it. Growing up as a Black man, I definitely don't even need to go into it, because the world knows, certain things that we go through. But just being at an HBCU, you're around people that want you there. You can feel when you're somewhere and you're not wanted. But being at an HBCU, being around people that look like you, people who want the same things as you, people who've experienced the same things as you on a daily basis, it builds a different kind of character, and it makes you have a different type of love. And I feel like it's something everybody should experience, from the fun to the academics of it. Once again, shout out to the PWIs, no shade on them, everybody has their thing. I just know that for me, HBCU was the only option. I've
literally been involved in everything. I don't think there was a time once I got to Clark Atlanta that I wasn't involved in something. So my freshman year, I was Miss Freshman, so that Royal Court experience just gave me a family right there. I'm a Spring 22 initiate of the Pearl Bearing Sigma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, so I have a sisterhood right there. And then I'm also a Fall 23 initiate of the Dime chapter of House Arrest 2 Championship Dance Team Incorporated. And I've just had all these different groups of friends and family, and I think because I was growing up as the only child, I think a lot of y'all know how that works, I really didn't understand having a big sibling kind of factor or relationship when it comes to things like this.
Some of the roles that I've stepped into since being at NSU, man, I'm a bass section leader in the illustrious Norfolk State University Concert Choir. I'm a student ambassador. I was Mr. Sophomore for the 2023-2024 academic year, and then left Mr. Sophomore, came straight into Mr. Norfolk State University, so that's a big one. That's pretty much everything on campus. Some other things that I do, I'm a Spring 24 initiate of the Epsilon Zeta chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the best frat so nice they had to name it twice. And that's just to name a few things.
But the opportunities that I've had are because I wanted to be there, and because I wanted everything. I worked too hard to get here, and this is something that my younger self, I could have never imagined. What I thought I would be is so far off from what I am right now. And I really am living something that I never imagined.
Being at an HBCU kind of gave me to be a more warm, kind of comfortable person when it comes to other people. So I would tell my freshman self, don't be afraid for that. Don't be afraid for change, because change might be uncomfortable, but you're gonna love the results that you see at the end of the day.
If I could speak to freshman me, freshman Matt, I'd tell him, bro, stop doubting yourself. Dream a little bit bigger. The dreams you have, that's cool and all, but dream a little bit bigger, bro, because it's things that freshman me never would have saw for myself right now.
I think I would tell myself how loved she is, and that even the road that I was on when I started Morgan virtually was not the road that I was gonna stay on.
I would tell myself also lastly to be patient. A lot of times we kind of try to force to get these wins in and get them out the way, but you won't accept and enjoy, like, after the fact, the process of what it took to kind of get those wins. Sometimes you gotta reflect through the losses, and that's okay.
We're all here to get an education, but there's something more to HBCUs that I can't even really describe. There's an experience that HBCUs give you that I know for a fact other schools cannot. If you want to experience what could be, if you want a chance to change your life, HBCUs will give you that.